What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. The Elusive Samurai, Chapter 221. So in this one, Tokiyuki is struggling against Takagi. So like the other members of the Elusive Samurai arrive to help him, but Takagi's like divine, like evil aura is like affecting them, and like basically it's like draining them. Like it's like freaking, like it is hurting them really badly. Like they're like it makes it like they're like, or it was almost like they're like close to death, hard to breathe. And then like during all this, you see you know basically see all of Tokiyuki's allies are trying to help, and you see basically you see Usugi like talk basically monologuing about Tokiyuki, how basically how he treats people, how even though like while it may not be politically or financially beneficial, he like a lot of clans side with Tokiyuki because of how he treats them all with respect. And then he like talks about wanting to repay you know the Hojo clan, and then basically he says all he has is this thing to all he has like, yeah, so Noriaki Usugi basically all he has is this one thing to like pay him back, a weapon, and it's like in a box that's sealed. And basically while Tokiyuki and his ally and the other Elusive Samurai are basically close to death, you see someone attack Takagi, and like basically help stop all that divine energy. And basically say Usugi, basically Noriaka says, yeah, due to some memory loss, skill loss, and there was like no blood flow to the brain. Basically took this guy 6 months before he could become conscious again, get his memories back, and be able to fight. And so basically for the 6 months after that, he basically wanted to return the battle to help Tokiyuki. And then basically so Noriaka experimented on him to turn him to like a what he calls a type 60 human being. And basically like he never wanted to return him to Tokiyuki, but since he now trusts Tokiyuki, he returns him. Basically, yeah, so a former traitor is back, except now siding with basically it's Fubuki. He's back. Yeah, and then yeah, so basically he was like, I guess Tokiyuki didn't kill him. Like, yeah. So, wow. I did not, because I believe in history, like in history, if I recall, I believe Fubuki is supposed to die. Like in that battle where he's shown to have like seemingly died in the manga, that is where he dies in history, I believe. So yeah, so like of course, like like so I recall, so like in history, I believe he does die at that battle. Like because, but in history, he committed seppuku. So like basically like so he's back. Like he is back. So now that's gonna bring us in how he's gonna help in the fight. So this leads to some interesting things of how they could go about ending this. Like honestly, is this gonna be an alt history thing? Is it gonna be alternate history? Hey, it's gonna be like a what if story for history. What if, like, cause that's one of the things alt history does is like it's basically it's a what if story for real life historical events. Like Chainsaw Man famously is a what if the Cold War never, basically what if the Soviet Union never collapsed, and like basically it has where the Cold War is kind of still going on in Chainsaw Man. Whereas this, maybe this could go into what if Tokiyuki beat Takaji? Maybe that's the route this is going. That could be interesting to explore. Say, hey, obviously, yeah, the Suwa, like Suzuku, the Suwas, they're able to see the future, but maybe something happens to where, hey, that future is not set in stone. So now you have like a guy who historically is supposed to be dead, alive. So now we're gonna see what happens. I really like this chapter. Interesting what Fubuki's return is gonna be like. This is a resurrection I'm not necessarily opposed to. Like, there's some resurrections that should just not be done. Like, Frieza. Every time, like, Frieza should never have been resurrected. That was, I'll just, in Dragon Ball, I'll just say that. But Fubuki coming back, it's not terrible. Like, it's not like something that, like lore breaking caused a bunch of problems. So, like, they'll have an extremely big problem with this. So I'm interested in how it's handled. You know, So yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kagurabachi Chapter 96. So in this one, this shows, Soshiro Azumi fighting like a lot of the Kaminabi. So it shows like his family, like, basically they're famous for but the this healing sorcery that was like coin based. Basically by you doing something with the electrical currents in the human body. But Azumi used that sorcery for combat. Let's say he pissed off his family a lot. And then, yeah, so then basically, then, what was fine, it's shown that Samura and Chihiro are on the way, but something's blocking them, I guess, position blocking them from being able to get in. So, like, then this is, going on. So, yeah, so basically, Chihiro and Samura are about to rejoin this story. And yeah, there's some issues with like some of the artwork is definitely unfinished at the end of the chapter. And then yeah. And then basically then that's gonna be interesting. So we see like dude the freaking fight like dude it was freaking bloody. So like the Azumi fights. And then yeah, so basically explain and then it's like hey, going back. So yeah, so really like this chapter, interesting what they do what they do with Chihiro and Samura being on the way, bring them back into the story, have Chihiro basically confront Azumi. That's what I want to see happen. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi Chapter 63. So in this one, Kiyoshi's group is in hell, the demon world, trying to find they're trying to find, Shishido. So yeah, so basically, so what happens is so Kiyoshi had like attacked the demon who was attacking the child. So everyone's just so Tosaka like acts like, yeah, dude, yeah, that's right. Basically acting like basically tough guy trying to basically to kind of blend in. And then they like, hey, here's your dog. Get back, you punk. And I guess Kiyoshi had punched the high level demon and knocked him out pretty hard without a preset power. So yeah. And then basically Tosaka summons like a giant chicken named Hook with like a demon pentagram thing. I guess to like hunt Shishido. So basically Hook is given one of Shishido's socks in order to like catch his scent. I guess it smells really bad because because of chicken's facial expressions. So they're led to like a burger shop called Wiki D's. Basically, it's a hell version of McDonald's. And then they're like, all right, let's just go get food. I guess all the food's spicy. Hitsugi, I guess, has an issue with spicy food. And then so basically turns out I guess where they're at it's a Pseudo-Ross former territory. And basically what's explained is that the demon world was ruled by two of the three great demon lords. So one of them being Pseudo-Roth, who Kiyoshi exorcised, and the other one is Hell's Above. So now there's a third one who we don't know. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, so and basically so there's like no leadership since Asura Roth is gone, so his territory is like basically anarchy. So Hell's Above's like in charge now. Question: if this guy ruled, if two of them, okay, what does the third one rule then? That's my question. Who's this third one? Like so basically then so like of course in demonology you have like the seven demons associated with each of the seven deadly sins, and Hellswell probably based on the scene. So there's like a demon that comes in when they're in Wiki D's that says, "Ooh, likes the food," and I guess he likes something called a Tormember, and he likes to try some limited time Inferno fries. Kyoshi's like, "You want some? Here." Guy eats some, and he bites his own fingers. He eats his own fingers, and then wants to eat Cook, and he's like, "Hey, that's ours. Don't do that, please." Oh well, then guy leaves. And they see that Shishido, there's some news thing that Shishido is going to be executed, so they know where he's going to be at, so they have to go save him. So that's going to be interesting. So I guess they're hinting at who the next major demon lord they're going to go after is, which is probably Hellsman. And that's probably who was just in that restaurant. So Hellzebub probably based off of Beelzebub, which is the demon associated with gluttony. So and demon names probably a name for Satan. Yeah, I mean, in Christianity in the Bible, he's stays Beelzebub's another name for Satan. Of course, a lot of fancy stuff. It's like sometimes it's a separate demon. So of course you have like a lot of the different you know a lot of the different demons. So you have Lucifer being pride and like basically so in the seven, in like what's described as the seven, you have like so there's different ones. So in Peter Bensfield's classification of demons, uh, you have Lucifer is pride, Mammon is greed, Asmodeus is lust. Um, Beelzebub's gluttony. Satan is wrath. Belphegor is sloth, or Baal Peor. Yeah. So yeah, so Pseudo Roth, like Astro. That's probably in relation to Astaroth, which I'm not an expert. Like so, Astaroth, um, base of course, the Suaroth, Astaroth, basic. Well, and then I mean that's associated with Ishtar, who's heavily associated with like love goddesses and stuff like that. So like, okay, so my question is, so why is there three? Like, where the is there not four others? So is there not like four others? Like, hmm, that's interesting. So I want to know who the third. It's probably like something like along the lines of Satan or Lucifer. Odds are probably along the lines of Satan or Lucifer. And then yeah, so I'm interested. War of Hells Above. My guess is that's probably why they were keeping this going. Is that Sudaroth is not the only great demon lord, but there's obviously two others. So Hells Above. Now we got a third one. Who's probably gonna be the final boss? Like there's probably gonna be three main I guess parts. You have Sudaroth arc. I guess now you have the Hells Above arc. Then probably it's gonna be whoever the third demon lord is. That's probably gonna be the final arc. And then yeah, so that should be interesting. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ichi the Witch, chapter 53. So in this one, Ichi's group eats dinner with Chrono you know and Minerva, and basically they try to figure out okay, because obviously everyone's like a human and they magic having consuming a child. That's obviously not something that's happened before. So they're trying to figure something out. So basically, like, so they're trying to figure out more. So Ichi's group's trying to figure out what's going on. Like they're confused. Like so Descaris asks if they could take the trial for Chrono. Minerva says no, you're not. Basically, since Chrono's her husband, she doesn't want anyone to take to acquire Chrono because she's concerned. She doesn't want Chrono to be taken away from her, and if he's acquired, she doesn't know what effect that could have on the baby, which that's a legit concern. And she basically puts her armor on and says, "If you want to acquire me to go through me," and that's what I was like, "Okay, you're not gonna do anything against witches." And then Itchy asks, basically 300 ships have sunk and a bunch of people died, and Itchy asks if Chrono did. Chrono says no, but there's another magic in the sea that lives in the area that hates humanity and does that. And basically, the reason the sea currents are the way they are is because he's messed with them to keep humans out. And basically, so Crow says he doesn't have any ill will towards humans. He's really not really interested in humanity except for Minerva, obviously. And he tells Ichi if anyone threatens Minerva or his kid, he will not hesitate to kill them. Ichi's like, okay, we're good. And he's like, all right, we're not gonna hunt you then. So, and Ichi's like, if he's not a human hair, there's no reason to hunt him. Escar's like, that's fine. And then and then I mean Descartes is obviously interested on the trial of what Chrono's trial would be, and then of course there's the whole issue of they have to report the baby to to the association, and of course also report the whole deal about what they were told about Chrono and the other magic. And you have Jiki Sharon says, yeah, they gotta figure out how to get rid of the baby. Everyone reacts like, what? Like, Gokurok is like, the frick you say? Like, everyone's like, I mean, basically, Jiki Sharon's like, well, you have a half magic, half human kid. Something like that should not be born and might be a monster and it's basically gross. And basically, she says that the no, the world would not celebrate birth of that baby. And then Minerva just slaps Jiki Sharon in the face. And Minerva's like, even if 100 people hate my child and 1,000 people think they're disgusting, I'll still be glad that they were born. And I'll love them enough for a billion people because I'm their mom. And basically, she's like, shut your shut your freaking mouth. Basically, she's like, don't try. I mean, Jiki Sharon basically said what she shouldn't have said, and I'm with the mother on this one. Like I agree, and basically she's like, "Look, I don't care if the kids, if all these people hate my kid. That's my kid. I mean, look, I personally do not have kids, but I would agree if I was in the, but I'm with Minerva on this. Like that is your kid. You care for your kid, regardless of what the world says. Like, like that is your kid. You gotta take care of the kid. Do what's right by the kid. Like basically, you know. And then Chrono like tells everyone to shut up and basically asks Descars to hide everyone's presence. And then the whichever magic of I guess is going around killing humans asks to be let in. So I don't know what this magic's name is. They haven't said the name. So probably next chapter will be when that magic's revealed. So that'll be interesting. So big twist. So Chrono's not the villain. It's someone else. So there's another magic that they don't know about, that the witches don't know about that's there. Or at least don't know that's there. They may have heard the name, whatever its name is. But yeah, I really like this chapter, like what they're saying up. I like the stuff with Minerva. So yeah, I liked it. Looking forward to the next chapter. Odor of the Flame, chapter 21. So in this one, so Kurin's attack has defeated Dodoa. So like basically, and Kurin like passes out. I mean, and even though he would only use like a portion of the wind spirit's power, and then like so Philia explains to the wind spirit that she forgot a lot of stuff. She's only just recently remembered what I guess she originally looked like, her original self, and like in the wind spirit recently. Then the whisper asks if it means she forgot about Surtur too, who was the first warrior to flame, full Surtur of the Black Branch. And then like so Kutin wakes up, like basically he gets up, having her guess recover from like using that the wind spirit's power. So then Dodowa starts crawling towards where Odor's at. And basically the wind spirit recommends just putting him out of his misery. Odor tells him to give up because he can't do anything. Odin promises to spare his life as long as he doesn't resist, and they'll capture and send him to a forest kingdom to be a hostage. Dodo says basically why like the nice guy stop the nice guy act since they were just trying to kill each other basically a few seconds before. And then basically Oda says why is he trying to live like he does? So it says, hey, basically that Oda was born in a kingdom that actually has spring, whereas he lives in a basically a land of all ice, where basically it's all winter, where like basically it's like a living hell. And he like makes like an ice sword where and cuts off Oda's arm. And now it's not well the wound's like cauterized, but it's frozen. It's frozen shut. And then yeah, so basically so yeah, so Eoperco and Kutins I think are like they're both they can't fight right now. So Phil gets trying to figure out what to do. So she remembers, I guess, her like when she was, I guess, bonded with like Surtur, and get basically Philgia has to use like some power, some special power. So he like gets like it's almost like a demon form per se. Like I guess he gets like a demon arm or something. So, yeah, so and that's how it ends the chapter. So it looks like next chapter we're gonna see what this demon form does, how powerful it is, how much damage it does to Odor. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Like the stuff with Odor, how he wanted to spare Dodoa, but Dodoa says screw you. So yeah, I liked it. Looking forward to the next chapter. Interesting what we get with Surtur. Harukaze Mound, chapter 16. So in this one, so Nagiharu's like pitching has given some momentum. So like the so Hina Sakura's down 6-3. So like runners on first and second. So Kingo goes up. He fouls 3 times. And we see some like how he practiced, like using katana in order to help with his the strength used to swing a bat. Basically, so like, so basically the pitcher is Kingo's old teammate Sojiro Matsukasa. So basically, Matsukasa was looking forward to going against Kingo. So then after getting that third foul ball, so we see him do one. So for the next pitch, so Kingo swings and then he hits the ball and it's a long live drive. It goes over basically everyone's gloves and like hits center field. It hits the fence and it brings both of the runners home. So basically, so like looked like based on where it was at, looked like I don't know which base he is at. I think he's at second. Like I believe he's at second base. So it was a 2-run double. So yeah, which makes sense. Obviously, triples are very hard. Basically, this is supposed to pay off a lot of the build up to Kingo, in this game. So yeah, I like this chapter. Like we finally got some fun with this stuff they're building up with Kingo. Interesting how they do for the rest of this series. Because based on how they're doing it, this is going to be one of those long sports manga. Like this is going to be a long series. It looks like. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ekiden Bros, chapter 14. So in this one we see Matoy and Kinzaki's leg of the race. Like, also they're running, like basically. So Kinzaki basically wants to have someone who can actually challenge him. So Matoy, we see him flashback. So the team's coach like tells him the reason he was. So when Matoy's in high school, the reason he was made team captain is that he was the second best second best runner, while Kinzaki was the star, and basically the coach didn't want the star to have to deal with the responsibilities of being the team captain. So basically that kept getting to Matoy, and then the coach tells him to calm down, and like basically yeah, so he does calm down. He says the reason why he was made captain is because Matoy works too hard, so it had nothing to do with like how he is as a runner. Well, I mean, it is, but like he works very hard. And then basically tells him just do what he has to do. So, and then yeah, so basically yeah, so then like when Toy catches up, and then he and Kinzaki are like basically they're like neck and neck. So they're like Kinzaki actually has to like get serious. And then so yeah, so then and basically kills are you trying to win? Matoi's like, dude, you're my rival. What else am I trying to do? So then they're both trying to keep up with each other. And so they're kind of like neck and neck. So it's like they're about to hand off to Nobu and his brother for I guess the next leg of the race, which is probably the final leg of the race. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Like it was like they're trying to finish stuff out with Matoi's story, and I think this series is ending after this race, because they would not be doing this match this early if they weren't ending it. Due to the trends with how manga have gone in recent months with Shiyushia. So yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ping-Pong Peril, chapter 13. So in this one, so Tyra is still going against his former coach. He gets these random bystanders to help him, like help carry him so he can use like the people as the table. I don't know how he explained how he was what was going on, but basically they keep the game going. So Tyra having the high ground does help, like with it does help with like him like in the game. And basically, of course, the old coach doesn't says he doesn't like him because he doesn't like Tyra being as talented as he is. And like, but he does kind of admire him for his talent. So like, yeah. So yeah, I like this chapter. And then basically, yeah. So then Coach Hebizuka then uses a red light, which was likely a break, as a way to get a shot across. Has to do a serve. And then basically he's trying to get serious. So yeah, so we see the game going. So Tyra's running to get like I guess this shot. So yeah, I like this chapter. Like what they're so it's like his Tyra's match against his former coach. That's probably gonna come. But they're probably gonna make peace at the end of this game, whatever the game is, which probably will end with Tyra winning. Being able to pay back most of his you know debt. Like So yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Gachiakuta, episode 13. So in this one, this focuses on Alma's backstory predominantly. So basically, she tells like the cleaners about like so her mother basically sold her to this giver like who she called Mister. Basically, they lived in the tower at Pinta, and basically the guy was freaking crazy. Like basically, he's a trafficker. It doesn't say what he traffics. Like it doesn't say where it's goods, where it's people. It doesn't really say. But apparently, a lot of the other traffickers consider him to be a creep, which, given his personality, it wouldn't be surprised if he was trafficking people. The guy was insane, and so that Mister owned those Watchmen boots before Amo did. So basically, Mister tells Amo that they need to do a ritual, and Amo says she feels things in her heart, and Mister says it's love. Basically, Mister tells Amo that Amo has fallen in love with him. Amo's like, "Oh, that's what's happened," and like you see, like it's supposed to show how it's like little kid drawings, like it's like done like what Amo's imagining. It's show how crazy her mind has gotten over the years of like and it is heavily implied that Mister had violated Amo. That is heavily implied, like that he had violated her. And yeah, and then basically like these two guys come in from the sphere. Uh, when they leave, it's almost like they sprout weight, so Amo calls them angels. And they like beat up Mister, then give the boots to Amo. Then when Mister wakes up, he tries to take the boots back. Basically, he and Amo fight over them, and Mister falls out this hole in the tower and dies. You know, yeah. And so hearing about the angel, so Rudo comes back in to apologize. So the president, Rudo comes back in the room to apologize to Amo. Amo says he doesn't need to do that. Basically, they kind of make peace, and she draws like a picture of one of the angels with their mask, and it's the guy that killed Regto. So Rito recognizes the guy's mask. He's like, "What?" He's like, "It's this guy," and then he imagines what he's gonna do to the guy once he finds him, like make him apologize in front of Regto's grave. Basically, he wants to freaking he what basically what he so he punched Amo in the face, beat her very brutally, beat her to a blade pulp. I mean, she was still I mean, almost still breathing, still able to speak and tell the story, but he probably wants to do like what he probably wants to beat up the guy who killed Recto a lot more, like very brutally. And I'm not gonna say anything about who that guy is. The Angels are. But yeah, so they know about so the cleaners leave. They know about the angels. They know about that, and Amo asks Rudo if she'll like visit if he'll visit her lair. Rudo says maybe. Basically they part ways. Friend like they part ways. Peacefully. Blah blah. Like so basically the cleaners have like at least become friendly acquaintances with Amo. Honestly, at this point in the anime, I wouldn't say they're necessary full on like friends. Not yet, anyway. Uh, I don't know. They might get to that point in the manga. They might get to that point. The anime might get to that point. But then to see at the end, so almost sees someone, and she's like, "Wait, what are you doing? What are you?" Basically, imply that someone has attacked Amo, and basically, yes, that is what happened. Amo's been captured. I will not say by who. Because it is a big spoiler of who actually captures Amo. Like, yeah, it's gonna be very important. So yeah, I really like this episode. Like, I knew, like basically, like last week's was Rudo just beating, repeatedly punching Amo in the face. I remember reading that chapter in the manga. I was like, the frick is Rudo doing? Oh, frick! What the frick? He's beating the crap out of her. But then I read the chapters after that with almost backstory. I was like, oh, frick, this got dark real quick. The frick happened to this girl? Like, like is like I'm not saying her actions of trying to basically screw with everyone's minds with basically the fumes of her shoes. That obviously that is messed up. And obviously, there's no excuses for what she did. No one is making excuse for what she did. But you can understand how she ended up going crazy with some of the bad stuff that happened to her. So I say she was a tragic villain temporarily. She was not a sympathetic villain, but she was a tragic villain. Now, of course, now she's a protagonist, supporting ally, for Rudo. Yeah, and obviously, it's a long road to like recovery for her as far as her mental state it is a long road to recovery. But yeah, I really like this episode. Interesting the rest of this series. I'm actually surprised they kept the old like they so it looks like the opening theme they are using for the entire, I guess, two core runs. So they're not switching openings. So I was surprised, but I was like, okay, no, I expect that. But yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 5. So in this one, Maru is knocked out by Masaki, who then, like, basically, over the course of fight against Tsurugi and Yuka, basically degrades to like an old man, revealing that he's actually an old man pretending to be a first grader. Basically, he'd been wanting to relive first grade, and showing he has memories, keeps repeating stuff. So like, it's implied he's senile. So part of the reason why the curse had become so problematic is that basically he had gone senile, and it's his mental state's affecting how the curse goes. And in the end, the chapter, we see Maru's third eye activate, hinting that his curse technique is going to be used next chapter. So we'll see what that curse technique is. So I'm interested in what happens there, like what this what this curse is, what his power, what Maru's powers are, how they compare to like you know the curse powers on Earth. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Tulsa King Season 3, Episode 3. So in this one, so Agent Muso calls Dwight, makes him go on a road trip to Texas with him to find a killer named the Watchmaker. Basically, Muso has some grudge against the Watchmaker, and so basically you have so they get pulled over while on the way there, and Dwight basically bribes this cop with season tickets for the cop and his kids to a basketball game, and the cop's like, "Okay, you better not be bullcrapping me." Basically, so yeah, so then what happened is so Tyson's wanting to get revenge for Mitch getting beat up. So gets revenge on Cole Dunmire, and so it's real that Cole is scamming like like old people at a bingo hall. And then so what the Tyson, Grace, Bodie, and Goody do is they basically win the jackpot at bingo and embarrass Cole, and they decide to celebrate what they did at a strip club. So some stripper named Serenity lures Tyson away, and Tyson's in ambush by Cole's thugs. And Tyson is forced to reveal where the Montauk 50 bourbon is, and so Jeremiah Dunmire gets the bourbon. Then Cleo wants revenge on Jeremiah Dunmire, understandably, and Mitch is roped into helping her out. Mitch is concerned because obviously he could go back to prison if he helps Cleo with it. So Cleo meets with Jeremiah. Jeremiah, threatens her, and Mitch tells Cleo that basically she must trust Dwight. if they want to keep working there, that she must trust Dwight. And then there's the whole issue. So with everything that happened, Armand is missing, and and Goody calls Dwight, tells him about what happened, and basically setting up the big conflict between Dwight and Dunmire for the rest of season 3. So yeah, I'm interested in sort of. So of course, you have that $150 million bottle of bourbon. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand why anyone would pay that much for a bottle of beer. Like, I don't know how old the beer is, but who pays $150 million for a bottle of beer, especially if you're not gonna drink it? Like me, I don't drink, but if I did, I'm not gonna spend millions of dollars on a bottle of beer. That's just me. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol. But if I did, I would not. I would not waste. I would not do that, especially if I'm not drinking it. Like, come on. Anyway, as far as the episode goes, I liked it. Like the dynamic between Musso and Dwight. You know, and like what how everyone like how they were trying to operate without Dwight. You know how they were handling things, even though they may not handle things the best ways they should. I'm like, first thing you do is celebrate is go to a strip club. I mean, there's a lot of problems with that in general, but really, that's the first thing you do. Go to a strip club. Really. But yeah, I liked this episode. Looking forward to the next one. One Punch Man Season 2 recap. So, basically, based on title, it's a recap of Season 2. Before Season 3 premieres, like next week, basically this special just provides like a recap for Season 2. Basically, it was on YouTube. It didn't appear on Hulu, which was a little confusing. I was like, where the heck is this thing? Apparently it's premiered. Where the heck is it? Is this another like Crunchyroll like screw up? Even though One Punch Man's not on Crunchyroll, or at least season 3 is not, 2 and 3 is not. But it's like, what the frick? So yeah, I saw it. That was fine. It's whatever. I didn't see a need for it. I'm like, I get why because of how long it's been. Like, I think season 1 premiered 10 years ago, like approximately 10 years ago. And so basically, this is over the course of 10 years, we've had 2 seasons, and we're about to start a third one. Like, one, that's freaking terrible scheduling for a TV show, especially when there's like 12 episodes for each season. Like, that is freaking terrible scheduling. Of course, there's all stuff with a lot of the production problems that the show has had. Especially with season 3, there's a lot of concerns. So yeah, it was a decent special. It was fine. Not worth writing home about, but like, hey, it's whatever. Yeah, it was good at recapping everything that we needed to know from season 2 before season 3 premieres. So yeah, that's really it. Looking forward to season 3. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.